For your next project, you're going to use a technique similar to paste into that Photoshop had, but Photopea doesn't have a direct paste into. So there's a way we can kind of trick it into using it. So you're going to create a little collage. And notice what I did is I have a background where I just added a solid color. You can add a gradient. It'll ask you to do one or the other. And then what you're going to do is you're going to use either selection tools if you want, or I'm going to encourage you to use the shape tool. Now we have rectangular, we have an ellipse. I'm going to go down to the custom shape. And like Photoshop, there's a little menu that comes down here where you can pick a shape. And you can see I already did a little search. So if I took out this search, you get all these different shapes to use. So I'm going to go back in and type in star because I want to use this one for my first one. Now, once you pick your star, up on the top, you will notice that it does have the same, do you want it as a shape? Do you want it as pixels? You can leave it as a shape. That's perfectly fine. So now what I'll do is I'll just drag my mouse. Remember, Shift key keeps it proportional. And that's about a good size right there. Now, you can see there is my shape layer. So I might as well just go ahead and call this a star. All right, now here's the important part. What we're going to do is we're going to use this shape to make a selection. So control click on the thumbnail and there's your selection. Then go to your background, and once the background's selected, just press delete. So I basically just made a hole inside of this background. Now I'll deselect. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go get a picture. Now, my wife and I were watching The Voice the other night, so I already got a couple tabs up here. I'll grab Blake Sheldon. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and paste it. Now, of course, what you'll notice is this is above everything. So the trick is going to be this. First, I got to unlock my background. And then I'm going to move the background above the picture or the picture below the background. And now here's the important part. If you want to move this picture, notice that you can't see much of it. Here's the move tool. Make sure you take off auto select. So you can see my auto select is unchecked, because then what happens is when I point to the layer that's selected and move it, it allows me to drag it. So there it is. Okay, now that is pretty simple enough. So first of all, let me go ahead and I'll type in Blake Shelton. Name everything properly. Now let's try this again. Let's go back to the shape tool. We'll do one more here. Go custom shape. All right, here now I'm going to go up here and delete this. So I'm going to see what kind of shapes I got. And maybe I'll say, oh, let me use the bubble just for something different. Okay, now again, it's a shape. And so here I will drag, add one in, and that's a pretty good size. So I'll just type in bubble. Now remember, we're using this simply to make a selection. So I'll hide it, but I can control click on the thumbnail. Beautiful. Now go to the background and press delete. Perfect. Now I'll deselect. Then let me go get a picture of Gwen Stefani. This happens to be Blake's new fiance. So I'm going to copy, I'm going to paste. Boom. Now you can see this is a huge picture. So we'll go ahead and control T a little bit. I'll shift drag the corner so I keep it proportional. All right. Now that's a pretty good size. So remember now, what I'll do is I'll take this layer and bring it behind the background. Perfect. Now, let me move her in here. Maybe I'll do a little smaller transform. That will work. All right, so there's my couple pictures. All right, so I'll make sure I'll name this. Perfect. So what's going to happen is you're going to have some shapes here and you're going to have layers. So what it will ask you to do is I don't want you to delete the shapes. It's going to ask you to take those shapes when you're all done. It's going to ask you to put them in a folder. And we can just call this shapes so I can see that you used shapes to actually put them in. Now, if you wanted to rotate things, you can certainly do that as well. So let me just take Gwen's here. I'll do a transform, and I just want to rotate her a little bit, just like that. Now, you will be asked to add some text in that too, but doing this little cutout, and make sure I got to do a little Blake adjustment here. There we go. I don't want to have a hole back there. Okay. Now, when you come to the background and double click to make a layer style. So here's the cool part. I do a little bevel and emboss. It's going to kind of give some neat little edges to the edge of the picture area. And again, I can sit here and adjust it a little bit, but I think I'm okay with this. Yeah, click OK. And you can see kind of the effect it has. Now, you're going to be asked in the directions to do a certain number of pictures. You'll have to add a title, and you'll see a sample that I use to complete this. And then you'll add names underneath each individual. So go ahead and have fun, and good luck.